Good.
Ghadir. Ghadir.
Check, check.
למען החי ורעי, למען החי ורעי, אדברנה, אדברנה, שלום בך, למען החי ורעי, למען החי ורעי, אדברנה, אדברנה, שלום רב, למען בית אדוני אלוהינו, אבקשה טוב לך, למען בית אדוני אלוהינו, אבקשה שלום לך. For all my brothers and friends, for all my sisters and friends, please let me ask, please let me sing peace to you, because of my brothers and friends, because of my sisters and friends, please let me sing, please let me ask peace to you. This is the house of the Lord. I wish the best for you. This is the house of the Lord. I wish the best for you.
This is the house of the Lord.
I wish the best for you.
This is the house of the Lord.
I wish the best for you. Good evening, everybody. Shalom, salam. Good evening to everybody that is here, and good evening to everybody who are watching us in the live stream, wherever you are at home in the world. Welcome to a very, very, very special evening. We're so happy and excited and honored to host this evening 3 incredible individuals, and we'll introduce them in just a minute. They represent an incredible organization, initiative in the land of Israel called the Spirit of the Galilee. And before we will introduce each and every one of them, we want to have a little taste of what this organization does in the world, because this organization has over 30 religious leaders from different backgrounds, different walks of life, and different faith. And here we have 3 out of the 30 that are currently involved. So we're going to watch a really 5-minute video that gives us a little flavor, a little taste. How does it look like for them on the everyday when they do the incredible work that they do? And just before we do that, we really want to dedicate this evening to a very, very special person, to a very, very dear friend. Our friends from Congregation Orami definitely heard me and us speak about this person multiple times since October 7. At first, we thought that Vivian was abducted by the Hamas to Gaza, and only 6 weeks after, we found out and we learned that actually she was not abducted, but she was murdered in the most brutal possible way, burned down in her own home in Kibbutz Be'eri. And both Ghadir and I were very, very close friends of hers. And she's a woman that created miracles in this world and dedicated her entire life for peace. So we want to remember her this evening. We want to continue in her footsteps. Ghadir will elaborate a little bit further about her and what she was doing in life. And may her vision and her dream for peace in the land of Israel and all over the world will be the will that we will accomplish, God willing, in our lifetime. So we will watch the short film about Spirit of the Galilee, and then we'll introduce every single one of our speakers.
של מאי אמרתי זהו, אני חייבת לחזור לתרום לעיר, וגדלתי בעיר שהיה לי יותר חברות יהודיות מאשר ערביות.
ושרפו חנויות, ושרפו בתים שם, ושרפו בתים עם אנשים בתוך הבית. בגלל 5% מהצד שלכם ומהצד שלנו, נשרוף את החיים שלנו, העתיד שלנו.
Judaism is perceived as a political reality represented by ultra-Orthodox voices.
Beautiful. We'll roll it in just a second. So I'm really, really happy and excited to invite to this beautiful stage 3 incredible individuals. Rabbi Or Zohar, the leader of the group, Reform Israeli rabbi from the Galilee. Ghadir Hani, who is a Palestinian, Israeli, Muslim peace activist, the best there is there. And our friend Abuna, Father Saba Haj, who is a Palestinian, Israeli, Greek, Orthodox priest. If you counted all of the identities of these 3 incredible individuals all together, you get a special prize at the end of the evening. So let's welcome our wonderful guest to the stage.
We're good, Adil? We can start? Wow, thank you everyone for showing up. It's great to be here with you in Orami. I'm actually, I think, here for the 3rd time. I've been here before, a few years ago. It's great to be back with my amazing friends and partners and colleagues. And Rabbi Lana, I think we saw you in our movie. You're everywhere. Amazing. How do you do it? So thanks for having us here, and for all the work that you've done to make this possible. I'd like to begin with sharing with you that once about 10 years ago, a baby girl was born, my 4th child. She's actually 9.5 now, so that's 9.5 years ago. It was Yom Kippur. I was a new rabbi in the Galilee, and I wanted to. And she was born 4 days before Yom Kippur, but the town when I was leading services was 40 minutes away, so I had to go away for the holidays, and leave her with my wife, and the 3 other children. And my mom and my wife's parents who came from America to help, and okay, so and our 2 cats, and so it was very beautiful prayers. We prayed. I led the service. You know, high holidays. Every rabbi thinks that their congregation is like 1,000 members, and so I drove back from the Yom Kippur prayers, wanting to see my baby girl, and on the way I passed an Arab village, and some youngsters were like chasing me in the car and beeping at me aggressively, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? And they were doing this to the hood of my car. In other words, I was so uplifted that I forgot to see that the gouge of the car and it overheated, and I couldn't keep driving. There's like steam coming out. So I was stuck, and it was dark by the Arab village. And let's make it more dramatic. Dogs were barking in the distance, and it was chilly, let's say. I'm not sure that it was. And I said, God, what are you trying to teach me? Have I not prayed? Were my sermons not good? Didn't we do this and asked God to forgive our sins? And I even fasted. Like, what's wrong? Why do I deserve this? There's a baby at home, you know, a wife. What's going on? What is the lesson? I asked the Lord in the heavens. And before I knew it, a black Mercedes pulled over. And out of it came a gentleman. He was quite Arabic looking, very elegant. He came to me and he said, "Can I help you? You are stuck. It looks like your engine is really messed up." So, to make a long story short, I didn't get out of that place before we had to wait for the tow truck. It was like a whole. I came a couple hours later. I came out from his house with trays of food for my wife and the newborn, and after the so then I went home and I kissed the baby girl and my wife and I said, before I went to sleep, I said, "Thank you, God. I learned my lesson." And ever since then, I was committed to the fact that my rabbinate in the Galilee, which is a very diverse area, in which half the people are Jewish and half the people are Arab, will be devoted. My rabbinate there will be devoted not only to the Jewish people, but also to everyone, and to building bridges between communities, because this man's hospitality taught me something about what it means to be a neighbor in the Galilee. The Spirit of the Galilee organization that you have presented is a result of that. A few years have passed before it became an organization. It became as local initiatives and people-to-people, inviting each other, like you saw in the film, for each other's holidays. And then, because I started to meet some religious leaders like me from different denominations, it occurred to us that we need to invest in the leadership. And we started to gather a group of people, leaders from the Galilee, each one of them either an ordained clergy or a prominent leader in their community of their own merit, people who have some influence or who are spiritually motivated by their own faith, by their own religion, to repair our society in northern Israel. And we started meeting. We started meeting every month, visiting each other's communities, doing retreats in the desert, in Jerusalem. You saw in the film the one in Jerusalem, getting to know one another, earning trust, becoming friends. And as a result, our communities started to get closer. People who had ideas, hey, let's do this, let's do that. We are neighbors, right? And this is the Spirit of our Galilee. It's an organization that believes that the only way to move forward in Israel, even and especially in these times, is through this collaboration. And we came today to share with you our vision, our experiences, our challenges, and there are many, as you know. And I hope that together we will be able to have a meaningful evening. I know that this issue of the conflict in the Middle East is very painful and has much concern to so many people here in the United States, in this congregation, other ones. We know, because we've been traveling in the States now for a while, that this country too is very divisive and that there are many problems that are related. So I just pray and hope that our conversation today will be respectful and mindful, that we all share this pain. We may all not all agree on everything, and that will be an encounter of healing, of hope. And without much further ado, I'd like to hand the microphone to the next speaker, but I don't know which one it will be. So is it... what? Yeah, now it's your turn now? Ghadir? Okay. It's an honor and a pleasure.
I will translate. Ghadir understands English, but I will help her speak. So she will speak, and I will just translate from the eye. So look at her, and the English will come from my mouth.
אז מסע חיר, ערב טוב, תודה על ההזמנה וההזדמנות.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting us and for this opportunity.
תודה מיוחדת לרוח גלילית וללנה על באמת על זה שהזמינה אותנו לכאן.
Special thank you to the Spirit of the Galilee and congregation ORME for inviting us.
לנה אמרה, אני ג'דיר פלסטינית, מה עוד זה, אבל היא לא אמרה את כל ההגדרה, איך אני מגדירה את הזהות שלי.
Lana told you about a few of my identities, but not all of them.
אז אני ג'דיר.
So I'm Ghadir.
פלסטינית.
I'm Palestinian.
אזרחית ישראלית.
I'm an Israeli citizen.
ערבייה.
I'm Arab.
מוסלמית
I'm Muslim,
ופמיניסטית.
and I'm a feminist.
ככה אני מגדירה את עצמי בכל מקום.
This is how I define myself wherever I go.
ואני פעילה הרבה שנים למען חיים משותפים ושלום.
For many, many years, I've been active for shared society and for peace.
אני גם פעילה בכל המאבק של אלימות נגד נשים ופוליגמיה.
I'm also very active in stopping violence, domestic violence against women, and also polygamy.
אני בהרבה ארגונים, שזה מאוד מאוד מאתגר.
I am part of many organizations, which is very, very challenging.
והסיבה לכך כי גדלתי בעיר מעורבת.
And the reason for that is because I grew up in a mixed city.
עיר מעורבת, אולי בארצות הברית זה משהו מושג שלא משתמשים בו בכלל, כי זה טבעי.
Mixed city is probably a term that in the United States of America you don't even use because it's natural to live among different people.
בישראל עיר מעורבת זה עיר שגרים בה יהודים וערבים. אחוז הערבים נע בין 30 ל-35%.
In Israel, a mixed city means there are Jews and Arabs live there together, when the Arab population is about 30 or 35%.
בארץ יש הרבה סוגים של יישובים, כפרים, קיבוצים, מושבים. ערבים גרים בעיקר או בערים גדולות או במה שנקרא כפרים.
There are many different ways of living settlements all over the state of Israel. There are villages, there are kibbutz, there are smaller towns, there are cities. The Arab people live either in smaller villages or in big cities usually.
ובעצם אנחנו לומדים בהפרדה, בתי ספר ערבים בנפרד ויהודים בנפרד, כי גם אנחנו גרים בכפרים. אין מניעה, אם יש תלמידים ערבים רוצים ללמוד בבית ספר יהודי, אף אחד לא אומר להם לא, אבל מעט מאוד אנשים שכן, כאילו שולחים את הילדים שלהם לבתי ספר יהודים.
We go to different schools because our educational system is divided. Jewish kids go to Jewish schools, Arab kids go to Arab schools. And it's not like if an Arab kid wants to go to a Jewish school, there's a law against it, but it is not very common.
ופה בעצם מתחיל הפער שלא מכירים, שמפחדים, שיש הרבה בורות.
The gap between two societies really starts there because there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of ignorance. People on both sides don't get the opportunity to know each other or to meet each other.
ואני מה שאני עושה כמי שמאמינה ששלום נבנה על בסיס אימון ואימון נבנה מתוך היכרות, אני מנסה לגשר על הפער הזה בעשייה שלי.
I truly believe that in order to reach peace we need to have trust, and in order to have trust we first need to get to know one another, and this is what I try to achieve in my work.
אז בהקשר הבין דתי אני מעבירה תוכנית יחד עם רבנית או רב לבתי ספר יהודים על האסלאם ובבתי ספר ערבים על היהדות.
So one of the things that I do in order to achieve that goal is that I cooperate with rabbis, and together we go to Arab schools and we teach them about Judaism, and then we go to Jewish schools and we teach them about the Islam.
אנחנו ערבים כן לומדים תנ"ך, אנחנו גם לומדים על היסטוריית העם היהודי, אבל היהודים לא לומדים על הערבים, אנחנו גם לומדים עברית מכיתה ב'.
In Arab schools we learn Hebrew from second grade and on. We read the Bible and we also learn about Jewish history. But in Jewish schools we don't learn anything about Islam or Arab history.
ותחשבו על מפגשים מסוג זה שהילדים רואים בארגונים קיצוניים שהם מייצגים את האסלאם, ואז פתאום פוגשים מישהי מוסלמית שמספרת להם על האסלאם האמיתי.
So often it happens that Islam is viewed as something radical, and then they meet a Muslim person and suddenly start learning about what Islam is really about, and not like they saw in radical organizations.
אני הגעתי אפילו לדבר בישיבות, במכינות קדם צבאיות, שזה דבר שבחיים לא חשבתי שאני אעשה אפילו.
I got to speak in high schools, in gap year programs for young people before their army service, in yeshivas, which are schools for Orthodox Jews, and I never thought or imagined that I will be ever in such places.
וכפעילת שלום, אני חושבת לנו, הערבים אזרחי המדינה, הפלסטינים אזרחי המדינה, יש תפקיד מאוד מאוד חשוב בעשיית השלום ובהגעה להסכם מדיני.
As a peace activist, I truly believe that for us, Palestinians or Israeli citizens, we have a very important role into promoting peace and reaching a peace agreement.
אנחנו יכולים להוות גשר, אנחנו מכירים את היהודים, אנחנו חיים איתם, מכירים את התרבות, את השפה ועוד הרבה דברים, ואנחנו חלק גם מהעם הפלסטיני.
We can and should be a bridge between the two societies because we know the Jewish people, we live among them, but we are also Palestinians and know the Arab culture. So we can really bring the two societies together.
וכמובן, לנשים יש תפקיד מאוד מאוד חשוב. היום יש מלחמה, וכל המלחמות מנהלים אותם גברים, ואני לא מתנצלת מהגברים שכאן, אבל לצערי זו המציאות. אז לנו יש תפקיד מאוד חשוב, שאנחנו גם ניקח חלק במשא ומתן, וזה מה שאני גם עושה היום.
And of course, the women have a very important role in peacemaking. We can use this current war as an example. All the decisions are made by men, and I apologize in front of the men who are in this room, but the reality remains the same. Women must be a big part of negotiations and peace agreements.
אני מדברת עם אנשים שבחיים לא דמיינתי על שאני אדבר איתם, עם מתנחלות ומתנחלים לדבר על שלום. זה נשמע הזוי, וכן, הרבה לועגים לי והרבה אומרים לי, איך את מדברת עם מתנחלים על שלום? הם כובשים, מה זה, כאילו, איך יכול להיות?
I get to speak with many people that I never thought I will be speaking to, for example, settlers in the West Bank, and I get a lot of criticism, and people ask me, how can you talk with settlers in the West Bank about peace? That doesn't go together, they are part of the occupation, but I believe that it's important to meet and to talk to everyone.
אני לא מאמינה שהסכסוך הישראלי-פלסטיני הוא סכסוך דתי, אבל כל עוד יש אנשים שכן מתעקשים להגיד שזה סכסוך דתי, אני רוצה לדבר איתם, והמתנחלים הם חלק מזה, מהשיח הזה.
I personally don't believe that the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a religious conflict, but because it is viewed as such by so many people, that I believe it's important to talk to every single one of those people.
בשנים האחרונות בעצם המאבק הראשון שלי היה כשהייתי עוד בבית ספר, כשראיתי שיש פער בתקציבים לבתי ספר יהודים לעומת בתי ספר ערבים. הייתי יושבת ראש מועצת התלמידים.
The first struggle I ever led was when I was in school. I was the head of the student council, and I saw that the Arab schools are not getting the same budget from the Ministry of Education as the Jewish school, and so I was fighting for that.
ומאז התחלתי להיות פעילה בהרבה מאבקים למען החברה הערבית.
And since I started to be active in many struggles of the Arab society in Israel.
ולפני 8 שנים בערך, 9 שנים, התחלתי להיות אקטיביסטית בהרבה מאבקים שבחיים לא חשבתי שאני אקח בהם חלק, שהם לא רק של החברה הערבית או לא של החברה הערבית.
And so in the recent decade, I found myself fighting for rights of many minority groups and not only for the Arab society.
המאבק נגד גירוש מבקשי המקלט.
For example, the struggle for keeping the African asylum seekers inside of Israel when there was a big threat for them being kicked out of the country.
המאבק של האנשים יוצאות אתיופיה.
The struggle of the women of the Ethiopian Jews.
שהילדים שלהם לצערי גם עוברים פרופיילינג, והיו כמה צעירים שנה אחרי השנייה שנהרגו על ידי שוטרים.
Whose children experienced profiling and a lot of police violence.
עמדתי מדי שבוע עם היוזמה שנקראת אימהות על המשמר מול תחנות המשטרה.
I stood week after week with Jewish Ethiopian women next to police stations in order to help them protect the lives of their children.
והבנתי כמה המאבק הזה, החיבור מאבקים הוא חשוב.
And I learned how important it is to cooperate between the different struggles in societies.
כי אם טוב לשכנים שלי, טוב גם לי.
Because when my neighbors are well, I will be well.
וזה לא פייר שאני דורשת שוויון עבורי כמיעוט, כערבייה, אזרחית ישראלית, ועבור האוכלוסיות המחלשות האחרות לא.
And so I learned that it's not fair that I'm fighting for the rights of my own minority community, the Arabs in Israel, but I'm not fighting the same for other minority groups within Israel.
אז אני אסתפק פה ונמשיך.
So I'll stop here and we'll continue.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank you as a community that you hosted us. I want to also to thank Rabbi Or, and Rabbi Lana, and our friend David, who hosted us also in his house. Thank you. We call him now the Hood Ghadir, because Brooks, it's the same name of Ghadir. The first name of Ghadir is Brooks. So, my name is Saba. Saba is a Greek name. There is a son called San Sabas. He built a monastery in the Judean desert in Wadi Kidron in the 6th century. And I am Arab, Palestinian Arab, Christian, Israeli, and sometimes the most difficult question when they ask me abroad in Europe, the first time for me here in the United States, usually when they ask me in Europe, where are you from? So it's very difficult to tell who am I, because it's not. I cannot explain that in one sentence. And if I say that I am Palestinian, Christian, Arab, Israeli, they will not understand what's that. But I think there is no paradox. There is tension, yes, but as a identity, I define myself as an Arab. My mother tongue is Arabic. The English is the third language for me, after also Hebrew. As Ghadir said, we started to learn Hebrew in the school, and then we also study in the university by the Hebrew language. And English also it's almost only in the school till the 12th grade, and then we don't use it. So it's the third language for us. So our identity is Arab. Our culture is Arab. The music is Arabic. Is the food, everything. We live in Arab villages, so we cannot admit that we are Arab, because sometimes they said, "Oh, you are Christian, you are not Arab, you are Aramite." No, I cannot say that, because as I said, all the symbols that we have, they show that we are Arab. My grandfather was born in the 1911 in the Ottoman period, and he was dressing the same as all the Arab who live in that area, Hatta, the Kafiya, and Iqal. So we are also Christian by the faith. And sometimes they say, you are Arab and Christian, how is it? We think that all the Arab are Muslim. I said no, the Christian exist even in Mecca and Medina before the Islam. In the period of Jahiliyyah, the period before the Islam, a lot of very famous Arab poet, they are Christian. So the Lebanese, in Lebanon, there are a lot of Christian. In Syria, there are a lot of Christian. To be an Arab and a Christian, it's also exist. And Israeli, how can be you are Arab and Christian and also Israeli? So we have the Israeli passport. we live in Israel, although that Israel defined as a Jewish country, Jewish democratic country. I say that to be a Jewish country, it make the country less democratic. But somehow, even though that it's a Jewish country, somehow we feel belong to this country. We listen to the Israeli TV. We see the news in Hebrew. We read the newspaper in Hebrew. We know a lot of program in comics and all the program in the TV. We see it, and we know a lot about the Jewish culture and the Jewish food, and we also lived and we deal with the Jewish people in the university, in the work. Before I become a priest, I have been a lawyer, and I studied I studied law in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. After I finished my secondary school, my high school, I wanted to learn in the university, and I wanted to take a room in the dorms, and each room is for 2 students. I was in the office there, and they give the rooms for the student, and when my turn came, the woman there said, "I have no place for you." I said, "How you gave all the students that were before me, and when my turn came, you say there is no place for you?" She said, "For me, obviously, I have places for Jewish student, and I don't have places for the Arab student. There are a number of rooms for the Jewish and number of rooms for the Arab, and those for the Arab are full." And she said, "I remember that I wish that in our period it's like this. I wish the situation will be better, and Arab and Jewish can live in the same room." I don't know. They can force Jewish to if they can force him, because they choose not to force. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Okay. So this is the situation in our country. There is a lot of tension between Arab and Jews, between Muslim and Christian, between Christian and Jewish, and also in our village, we have a village of about 15,000 citizens. We are 42% Christian, 58 are Muslim. Sometimes there are tension, sometimes there are a problem. Usually there is a peaceful relationship between the Arab and between the Christian and the Muslim. Almost always there is a good relationship between the Arab and our Jewish neighbors. Sometimes there are a problem, as always in our life. There is עליות וירידות.
There's ups and downs.
There is ups and downs. יש בריאות ויש there is illness and there is health. There is life and there is death. There is good people and there is bad. I think that most of the people are very good, and only the minority who make the problem. Sometimes we see them more, because it's like this. So this is our rule as a Christian leader, as a Jewish leader, Muslim leader. to take our responsibility to solve this problem. And that's why I am activist in the spirit of the Galilee, also to show the good side of the religion, that religion can combine us, that the religion cannot divide us. Every faith have the own independence, but we can also find the common between us to make the place that we live in it better and to have a better life. Thank you.
So we want to take time for people to think of questions that you want to ask. And I really want to encourage and invite everybody to really use this unique opportunity and just to ask anything that you're curious about. There's no right and wrong as long as we do it in a respectful manner. These are professionals. They have done it once or twice. They've even done it in Los Angeles. This is the third night that they are doing this. And I'm a witness that we had all kind of different questions. So this is really an opportunity. So the way we're going to do it, I'm going to hand out some papers to write on. And you want to write your name, go for it. It doesn't matter. We're going to have a musical interlude. And during that time, you can write your questions. And after that, we will collect them. And we will do the best of our ability to answer them.
I will sing.
Sing from over there. It's better for singing. I don't know this mic. You can go there to sing in this mic. Over there is the singing mics. As I've learned from your cantor.
Which one?
This one. This one. Other.
It's from the Psalms. As a Christian, we believe in all the Bible. And the Psalm is part of our praying. It's the 12th Psalm. It's according. It's the Yud Gimel 13. God, till when you forget me? إلى متى يا رب تنساني إلى الأبد إلى متى تصرف وجهك عني إلى متى أهجس في نفسي مثيرا الأحزان في قلبي مدى الأيام إلى متى يتعالى عدوي علي هاليلويا انظر إلي لأن يقول عدوي لقد قويت عليه إن الذين يسبحونني يبتهجون إذا أنا سللت Hallelujah. Thank you.
אני אקריא שיר למחמוד דרוויש בערבית.
I will share a poem by Mahmoud Darwish, who is a Palestinian national poet, and I'll read it in Arabic.
فكر بغيرك وأنت تعد فطورك فكر بغيرك لا تنس قوت الحمام وأنت تخوض حروبك فكر بغيرك لا تنسى من يطلبون السلام وأنت تسدد فاتورة الماء فكر بغيرك من يرضعون الغمام وأنت تعود إلى البيت بيتك فكر بغيرك لا تنس شعب الخيام وأنت تنام وتحصي الكواكب فكر بغيرك ثمة من لم يجد حيزا للمنام وأنت تحرر نفسك بالاستعارات فكر بغيرك من فقدوا حقهم في الكلام وأنت تفكر بالآخرين البعيدين فكر بنفسك قل ليتني شمعة في الظلام.
When you prepare your breakfast, think upon others. Do not forget to feed the pigeons. When you engage in your wars, think upon others. Do not forget those who demand peace. As you pay your water bill, think upon others who seek sustenance from the clouds, not a tap. And when you return home to your house, think upon others, such as those who live in tents. When you fall asleep counting planets, think upon others who cannot find a place to sleep. And as you search for meaning with fancy metaphors, think upon others who have lost their right to speak. And when you think of others far away, think of yourself and say, I am a candle in the darkness.
I would like to share with you a healing prayer that I composed in a combination of the Jewish ancient mantra El Na Refanala. It's a healing, deep healing mantra, if we may say so, a borrowed term from another tradition, and the serenity prayer, which is more ecumenical, because I feel like our country, Israel, needs healing and the world needs healing. And if you can, please join me in this prayer. Elna refana la, Elna refana la, Elna refana la, Elna refana la. Try this if you can join me. El narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. God grant me the courage to change the things I can. God grant me the wisdom to know the difference. El narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala. מי שברך אבותינו, הוא ירפא את החולים. מקור שכינה לאמותינו, היא תמצא מזור לסובלים. רפואת הנפש והגוף, רפואה שלמה. אל נא רפנלה, אל נא רפנלה, אל נא רפנלה, אל נא רפנלה. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. God grant me the courage to change the things I can. God grant me the wisdom to know the difference. El narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala, el narefanala.
Among many virtues, Rabbi Or Zohar is also a musician and a composer. So I believe this was an original piece. Mhm. All right, are we ready? We'll start with some challenging question. Abuna Saba, who was your roommate in the university?
In the first, I learned there in the dorms. I have been there 3 years. The first year is one from my village, and he is a Christian. The second year was one from Taipei, Muslim. And the third year, one from Nazareth. He was from my classmate. No, it was forbidden.
But I will say that Ghadir mentioned earlier that nowadays it's not forbidden anymore, and actually universities take discrimination pretty seriously. So now it's not a situation that will be encountered. How many people are in your organization, Rabbi Or? How many people are in your organization?
Okay, so the organization, it's a non-for-profit and has a board of about 7 people. The leadership group has about 30 members. It's with various levels of commitment, but I'd say 30 represents a number. And we're a small organization. We decided to focus on a leadership group because we found it to be a more cost-effective mode of apparatus for a small organization. Each one of those leaders, though, represents a lot of other people. Abuna Saba is not only my friend and partner, he's also a very modest person. He didn't tell you that the congregation, the Greek Orthodox congregation that he leads in Iblin has 5,000 people in it. Okay, so yeah, and he's the only priest, by the way, no assistant. So, you know, Rabbi Paul and Rabbi Lana, imagine. So, right?
Say that we should split?
Yeah, you know, when you get to 5,000, you can split, right? So just to imagine the impact. In other words, we try to be clever in that way. So I think our work has many ripples, and that is our motto. The next step after we have the group together and we've built it is to start supporting initiatives that the various leaders want to do amongst themselves and bring their communities together. So that is the motive apparatus. So it's not so much about the actual quantity of the organization itself, but the effect that it has on the society.
Okay, let's dive in. We're going to do this while people are still awake. As we were planning tonight, we thought that I'm going to ask the first question in order to go deeper, but I don't need to ask the question because I think 15 of you asked the question. So here we go. How did October 7th and everything that followed impacted your communities personally, and how did it affect your collaboration as an organization? Rabbi Or wanted Ghadir to start on this one.
אז 7 באוקטובר היכה בכולנו חזק מאוד.
October 7th was a big shock for all of us,
ערבים ויהודים,
Arabs and Jews alike,
ישראלים ופלסטינים.
Israelis and Palestinians.
אני אישית מהיום הראשון הבנתי שאנחנו, אני לא רוצה שיחזרו אירועי מאי 21. אם אתם זוכרים, לפני 2-3 שנים היה משהו גדול שקרה במדינה.
Personally, on the first day, I understood that I really don't want that the events of the summer of 2021 will repeat itself. For those who remember, there was a lot of uprising from the Arab-Israeli population in the 7 mixed cities, and I understood that I don't want this to repeat.
עכשיו, באסלאם אין תפקיד רשמי לאישה, כמו יש רבה ביהדות.
In Islam, it is not traditionally typical for women to take leadership positions, definitely not religious leadership positions like rabbis, female rabbis in Judaism, and pastors in certain Christian
אז
denominations.
מבחינתי הקהילה שלי זה החברות והחברים שלי ברשתות החברתיות, חברות וחברים שלי בעולם האמיתי, והפעילות והפעילים בארגונים השונים שבהם אני פעילה.
So my community is really my partners, my friends in the social media, in the real world, activists who I collaborate with for many years.
ומבחינתי הקהילה היא הקהילה היהודית ערבית.
And this community is a Jewish Arab community.
מאז 7 באוקטובר אצלי התחזקה האמונה בחשיבות של השותפות הערבית-יהודית דווקא בתקופה הזו.
Ever since October 7th, I actually understood even better the importance of collaboration between the Jews and the Arabs, particularly now.
המסרים שאנחנו מעבירים ביחד הם יותר חזקים מאשר מסרים של האשמות, של גזענות, של הצדקה למה שקרה.
The messages that we can convey together are much stronger than when we are apart, and definitely when we want to fight against racism and radicalism and everything that follows that.
ואני חושבת שהקול הזה, הקול המשותף, הוא הרבה יותר חזק מאשר אני משמיעה קול בנפרד מאשר היהודים, כי אנחנו מביאים קול אנושי קודם כל.
So this voice of partnership is definitely stronger when we are together, because first and for all, we bring the voice of humanity.
אז אני גם קראתי למנהיגים של החברה הערבית לגנות את הטבח ולהגיד ששום דבר לא מצדיק את הטבח הנוראי שקרה.
So immediately I reached out to the leaders of the Arab society in Israel, and I asked them to condemn the massacre, because absolutely nothing in this world can justify what happened.
אני איבדתי חברה טובה, כמו שאמרה לנה, ויויאן סילבר, שבאותו יום בבוקר התכתבתי איתה, ושאלתי אותה מה קורה, והבנתי שהגיעו אליה הביתה.
I lost a dear friend, as we shared earlier, on that morning. And in the morning of October 7th, I was texting her. And later, I learned that terrorists went into her home.
ואני היום מוצאת את עצמי מחזיקה את המורכבות הזו להיות פלסטינית ואזרחית ישראלית.
And today I sit with this complexity of being both a Palestinian and an Israeli citizen.
ואני באתי לפה בשביל להעביר מסר מבחינתי.
And
ואמירה.
I am here so you'll be able to hear my message first and for all, which is
לא לתפוס צד, לא להיות פרו-ישראלים ולא להיות פרו-פלסטינים.
don't choose any side. Don't be pro-Israeli or pro-Palestinian.
פשוט תהיו הומנים, בני אדם.
Be pro-humanity and pro-human beings.
היה, שוקרן, תודה. היה טבח נורא, והתגובה לא צריכה להיות נקמה. היום יש מלחמה בעזה שגם הרבה אנשים חפים מפשע משלמים בחייהם. לא ניכנס פה למספרים, כי המספרים הם לא הדבר.
There was a terrible massacre that happened, but revenge is not the answer. There is a war going on. There are a lot of people that are being killed in Israel, but also people that are being killed in Gaza. I don't want to talk about numbers because it's not about the numbers, it's about the essence that people are being killed on a daily basis.
ומה שאני עושה בחודשיים האחרונים, אני מאוד פעילה בכל הנושא של הגעה להסכם מדיני, הפסקת המלחמה, שחרור החטופים וניהול משא ומתן.
So what I find myself doing in the last few months of the war is to advocate and to try and be proactive in order to bring to the end of the war, first and for all, bringing back of all the hostages and leading towards a statehood solution.
דבר אחרון שאני רוצה להגיד, לפני ה-7 באוקטובר הייתי מאוד פעילה במחאה נגד ההפיכה המשפטית.
Lastly, I just want to say that before October 7th, I was very active in the protest to protect Israeli democracy that lasted for almost continuous entire year.
והחברה הערבית הייתה שוקעת בעצם בדם, יש הרבה מקרי רצח בחברה הערבית, היו הרבה מקרי רצח בשנה שעברה.
The Arab society in Israel have experienced a lot of domestic violence during the last year.
ומאז ה-7 באוקטובר אני בעצם בתוך כל המסרים האלה של להפסיק את המלחמה, לשחרר את החטופים, וכן, יש לנו עוד הרבה דברים להיאבק עליהם.
And since October 7th, that I completely changed my focus to fight for stopping and ending the war, bringing back the hostages.
ואני חייבת את השותפות והשותפים היהודים שלי, כמו שהם גם צריכים אותי.
And I have to have my Jewish partners because I cannot do this alone.
שוקרן.
Thank you.
It was terrible after I heard for the first time about what happened in the villages around Gaza and what Hamas do, the crimes that they commit. Yes, my English is getting better.
Very good.
Yes. At the beginning, I didn't believe what I am listening in the news. But slowly, all the Israeli, they were surprised. We didn't at the beginning imagine how much it was big and hard and cruel. So we are against violence. We believe that violence bring violence, and we think that it's not the solution. And what is make the also we see that in Gaza there is also a group punishment. There is also innocent people who are killed, innocent people who are suffer. So we are against the war, we are against the violence, and we want that this war stop. From the beginning, what was very hard to our communities is the fear. We live in fear because for two reasons. The first reason it was how the police and how the Shabak, the secret service, how they deal with these things, and everyone who write normal things that or not normal things, who write a sentence, for example, no winner, only God. That was what a famous artist write. She was arrested. A friend of mine, he is also Christian, and he wrote something in the Facebook, and he was also arrested. So the people at the beginning afraid to tell anything because they see that the police is arresting all the people who write everything in the Facebook. And the other side also, the people were afraid because of the war. We are afraid, until now we are afraid that the Hezbollah will attack, the Hamas will attack, and Israel will attack in Beirut, and the Hezbollah will attack again. So, and we are very close to the border. So it's we feel now it's more or less it's safe, more or less. Not in the north, in our region, more or less it's safe, but we are afraid from the future because maybe the situation will be bad if this war did not stop, and if the leaders will not have the wisdom to take the right decision and to achieve the peace. So the peace is the only way that we can live in a good situation and a good atmosphere. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I can tell you that on October 6th in the evening, I had the privilege to lead a Simchat Torah musical service, joyous, with 150 pre-army reform youngsters, 18-year-old, who defer their army service here. They go to our reform national program, and they all come to our region traditionally, and we dance with the Torah, and it was, very, very beautiful. And my job as the Reform Rabbi of that region on October 7th in the morning was to go back to lead them through the ceremony that we should probably do here also of the morning of Simchat Torah, to read the Torah from the beginning. And as I was driving, it's about 40 minutes from my home to where that place was, I opened up the radio and I started to realize this is a different morning. And when I came, there were 150 people, 150 devastated 18-year-olds who are glued to their phone. The film, those short snippets were coming in, and they, in other words, it was the hardest, maybe the hardest prayer that I ever had to lead as a rabbi, because I was trying to gather them. I felt a sense of responsibility to hold the space to read from the Torah, but at the same time, I felt that it was really beyond all of us and we were at a loss, and everything, ever since then, everything changed. I think that our region has gone back, 10, 15 years. A lot of what we have achieved in the kind of work that we do. we have lost. People, you mentioned fear. I can tell you, I can give you testimony from my mountaintop community, a Jewish community. By October 20th, 25% of the population have self-evacuated themselves either abroad or to other parts of the country. Of fear of Hezbollah bombing, which by the way has not happened, has not reached our region, thank God yet, as my colleagues have said. In the further north, it's very, very bad, and people have been displaced, but it hasn't quite reached our region, although we're actually very close to the border, about 16 miles. The people who stayed, some of them said, we need rifles. Because if something like this happens in our region, the military is not going to be there for us. The police is not going to be there for us. That's what you saw near Gaza. We're on our own. So all of a sudden, there's this squad of 8. Our village is like they're really like hippie yuppie kind of people. And all of a sudden, I see my neighbors, who are like, usually they're like, happy goers with right, and the place transformed itself into a military base. And some of the fear, which as we know now is completely unfounded, is that actually our Arab neighbors from the surrounding towns are going to come and do to us what happened in the Gaza border. Now, in our mind, it was clear that it wasn't going to happen because our neighbors are not Hamas. They condemn it. You understand that it's a. But after the trauma, people had that idea in their head, right? So really, you see how the trust is lost. And my role, I was trying to kind of like be as part of the village of the community board. I'm also there, but also the rabbi, to kind of not let this narrative of fear overtake us. And it was very, very difficult. Another thing that happened is rather than organize and fundraise and for the things that I usually do, which is these kind of panels, the seminars and activities that we found ourselves having to fundraise for things such as food for our neighbors. Because something that people don't talk about is that the war actually is also an economic disaster. And by the way, it's a disaster for Jews and Arabs alike in the Galilee. It doesn't matter. If your business is tourism, and many other businesses that are just, so I just started to look for food relief, for aid relief, for people, So, of course, it affected my work tremendously. And as time went by, and we kind of started to get over the initial section, part of the very deep trauma and pain and loss and confusion, I felt that we need to find a way to help ourselves and others to rise above the clan and look at the bigger picture. I think this is, and you spoke about this a little bit, I think that this is what if I can define what I've been doing ever since, is that it's very natural when such a trauma happens to identify with the pain and the loss and the trauma of your own and dehumanize the other side. But I think that it takes, the higher self, and for that we need religion and we need spirituality to be able to rise above that and see that over there in Gaza, I'll speak as a Jew now, there are people who are suffering just like us. And I think that this is where, as religious leaders, we are called to the table. To keep reminding people of that is not necessarily the natural thing to do genetically, but it's what we need to do in order to transform this conflict into a win-win kind of a perspective. It's extremely difficult because we're all human, and this is what I've been trying to do since October 7th.
Are there other organizations like yours in Israel, in other regions? Are there anything similar in the West Bank? And do you believe there are people who want peace in Gaza?
There are many other organizations, and Ghadir is in all of them. Usually on the board, and it's not a joke. It's not a joke. There's rabbis for human rights who are active in the West Bank. Actually, many of our reform colleagues are there, protecting Palestinians, from settler violence. They are Omdim Beyachad. You can talk about that because you're on their board. We're not alone. We are not alone, yet from the perspective of the Spirit of the Galilee, I'll say that we are unique in the sense that we come from the perspective of religious and spiritual leaders. Okay, there's so many amazing organizations and amazing people who do many good things in Israel. But just now, in a second, but we are accentuating the fact that that part of the solution has to be the religious leadership and the religious traditions of our region.
אז יוזמות בין דתיות יש גם הרבה בצפון, יש גם יוזמות דווקא בגדה של פלסטינים ומתנחלים.
There are a lot of interfaith initiatives all over Israel, also in the West Bank. One is a cooperation between Jewish Israeli settlers in the West Bank and Palestinians.
ובעזה יש הרבה אנשים שרוצים שלום.
And in Gaza, there are a lot of people that want peace.
זה אנשים שכתבו לי באותו בוקר שחור.
It's people that wrote to me on that black morning of that black Sabbath.
ושאלו אותי על החברות והחברים שלי מעוטף עזה, כי הם חברות וחברים שלהם.
And asked me about their friends, their Jewish friends, from all the Jewish villages surrounding Gaza, because they were also their friends.
פשוט פחדו לכתוב להם, כי אמרו אולי הטלפונים נמצאים עם אנשי חמאס.
They were afraid to write to them directly for many different reasons, so they wrote me.
הרבה אומרים לי איפה הם, למה לא שומעים את הקול שלהם, הם גם מפחדים.
Many people ask me, so if that is the truth, so where are they? Why don't they speak up? We need to understand that a lot of them are very afraid.
ואני חושבת שאם תסתיים המלחמה, האנשים האלה יתחילו כן לדבר.
And I truly believe that when the war will be over, these people will find the courage and they will start expressing themselves.
לכן חשוב כן להמשיך ולדרוש ולהגיד רק שלום יביא ביטחון.
So it's really, really important to continue and to demand and to insist that only peace can bring security. Something completely different. How does the Israeli government, which seems to not support a pluralistic society, respond to the Spirit of the Galilee effort to promote cultural cooperation?
As the representative of the Israeli government tonight, I don't know, maybe I won't vote for Bibi again. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll change my mind. The Israeli government, I don't think they know about us yet. I can tell you they're busy doing other things, but I can tell you one thing that we did the other week. Actually, as we were flying to Omaha, Nebraska, through Munich and Denver. מה התגובה של הממשלה שלנו לממשלת ישראל? לרוח גלילית. I'll tell you what is, I can't tell you what the Israeli government's response is to the Spirit of the Galilee, but I can tell you what the Spirit of the Galilee's response is to the Israeli government. You know? Grant me the wisdom to know the difference, all right? So the Israeli government decided that men who are Muslim, everyone who is Muslim, and is under the age of 70 will not be allowed to pray at the Al-Aqsa Mosque in the coming month of Ramadan. And I can imagine, for example, if I'm not 70 yet, and if, let's say, I don't know, any government would tell me that I can't pray in the most, I don't know, Grand Central Synagogue, on Yom Kippur, I would be offended, right? So we at the Spirit of the Galilee, as we were traveling to America through Europe, we drafted a draft of a letter, and then we sent it to our colleagues in Israel who kept improving it and translating it into all the languages. And we came up with a call saying that we, as religious leaders in Israel, demand and ask that the government will reverse this decision. By the way, today I read the U.S. government also wrote the same, so we were there first before the American government. We were quicker. To say that now, so here's the thing: will the Israeli government change their policy because of the Spirit of the Galilee? I'm not certain that they'd care so much for our opinion, but you know, will all the people in our group and their communities, and we're sharing this letter all around, see that we care, and this is not okay by us, and will especially our Muslim friends and neighbors and partners see that the Jews and the Christians and the Druze are not indifferent to this atrocity? Okay, yes, the answer is yes, and this is exactly what we are trying to do. While we may not have enough, power to change, the government's decisions, we can definitely try to change the atmosphere in our communities.
Hang on to the mic. How receptive are the Haredim, the ultra-Orthodox Jews in Israel, to your message?
I think actually Ghadir should answer this, because you talk to them too, right? No, seriously. You know what? Here, there you go.
אז יש אורתודוקסים ויש חרדים טובים שכן מתחברים למסרים שלנו.
There are ultra-Orthodox people who are very good people and they connect to our message.
תלוי איך אנחנו פונים אליהם, איך אנחנו מדברים איתם.
It depends how do we approach them, how do we speak to them.
דווקא השותפים שלי במפגשים בבתי ספר, כולם אורתודוקסים.
And actually when I go to schools with partner rabbis to educate about Islam and Judaism, what I told you in the beginning, all of my Jewish partners are Orthodox.
אני לא מדברת על האורתודוקסים של בן גביר וסמוטריץ' כמובן.
I don't talk about the special orthodoxy of the current government.
הם, כאילו, האנשים האלה בממשלה היו רוצים להוציא את כל העמותות והתנועות של השיח, של חברה משותפת מהחוק.
Because they would like to take organizations like Spirit of the Galilee and all others and ban them from the law.
אבל אנחנו נמשיך לעבוד גם כבודדים. אם יחליטו לסגור, אנחנו נמשיך לעבוד כבודדים.
But even if that would have happened, we will continue to do what we do as individuals.
אבל יש הרבה אנשים טובים, וחשוב לדבר איתם, חשוב, לא תמיד אנחנו מסכימים, אבל הם כן, ועל המסמך שהרב אור אמר, חתמו הרבה אורתודוקסים גם.
But there are a lot of good people on all sides and all fronts, and it's very, very important to remember. And we work together. And the example of this letter that Rabbi Or just shared, condemning the government decision about banning Muslim men to go up to the Temple Mount. There are a lot of ultra-Orthodox and Orthodox and all kind of different leaders that have signed. And actually, I'll just add from me as Lana, because I also signed, that it's a great example of something that comes up from kind of a local initiative, but it becomes not local at all, and it actually goes nationally and internationally. And there are a lot of religious leaders from different backgrounds and faiths that actually signed on this letter. So it's a great example, because there's a question here of how do you measure success? So I think this is a great example of success, but let's see. So just as a follow-up, do you have annual goals? How do you achieve them, and how do you see success? What is the success?
So we have annual goals, and it's and the Spirit of the Galilee is also an organization. It's a non-for-profit, and we're building capacity, because in order to do what we do, we need to do more, and we need to do it in an organized fashion. Many of us have been running on the people like Ghadir, people like Abuna Saba, and many other people, good people that we know. They're activists. They're self-motivated. They're motivated by God's love and by deep love to the country. We all love our country. We may call it a different name at times, but we all love our country, the same country very much. And then the idea behind Spirit of the Galilee is that in order to achieve more, we just need to be more organized. So our goals. So there's a board, there's a budget, every year we have an annual General Assembly where we present, for example, how many meetings we will have with the group. That we want to. In the first year, we did a one-day, end of year seminar. The second year, we felt that we can do an overnight, right? So this is what it is, and I think that as we develop as an organization, and like I said before, the first stage is already more established. That the group is there, people know about us. There's a logo, you know what I mean? We're there. If there's a logo, we're there, right? So then I think how we would want to measure success from now onwards is how much impact this group can have and on work that we can do in our communities and in raising awareness to what we do. So this is also the capacity that we're trying to build, is also to allow for our leaders to do things together with our communities and among each other. And the more we can be effective, the more we can. I will say that we're also dreamers. And we have a vision that this kind of work, really, like you said, Rabbi Lana, will go from the local to the regional to the national and maybe even beyond. Because Spirit of the Galilee, that thing that we have in the Galilee where Jews and Arabs are citizens, where there's less barriers between the populations, so we can meet and we can talk and we become friends and we can do things together. We have a vision that will be the face of our country all over. And when that happens, then we'll know that we have succeeded.
Building on that, do your families and close friends socialize with one another?
We are friends. We are not the program that we make and the visits that we make in the communities. For example, we have a visit for all the group to Ebilin, to my village, in Christmas. And the group and some of them bring their families. They came and they saw the
ornamentation, the Christmas decoration.
The decoration. There's like the Christmas market, the food that was in the center of the village, and it was free also. And we visit also another places, as you see in the video. We visit Nazareth also. We visit all the Akko. And I organize also to Bethlehem. I organized a trip that I have there friends that we visit also Jericho and Bethlehem, and we have been there also Arab and Jews, and the communication getting better, and our as a friend. We're getting more and more a friend. It's not only to work as a religion leader. We are working as a friend that we love the other side, and we treated the other in honor and as a group, and it's make the work better.
Just so you know, in every American city that we visited so far, which was Omaha and LA so far, Abuna Saba has either a relative or a cousin, and then they take us. Like today, I spent the whole morning with his. Is it your nephew or was it? So who lives in Burbank? So, and actually we saw that us coming here is a funny thing. We bring the Jews and the Arabs who live here together. At a Lebanese restaurant. Yeah, so yes, so these things are built, and we are, that's something that happens naturally and organically, but those friendships are forming. It's not just a formal thing.
Yeah. And of course, when you come to Calabasas, then you stay with David and his family. And Radir is staying with me, so I think that really answers the question. We've been friends for 10 years, and we walk through many walks of life, through sorrow and joy. And she's staying in my home, and I couldn't think of any other natural setting. We're going to take 3 more questions and finish on a musical, hopeful note. So stay with us. Do you all pray together when you start your meetings or the events? And if the answer is yes, what are those prayers?
We could do a moment of silence together too. So it's just to say that yes, on occasions we do. It's also sometimes a tricky thing because certain people, members of their group, there are different limitations to how much they can share. You see, for example, the Druze, their religion is secret. So we have the panels, and the Muslims say, my religion is so-and-so, and the Druze is just silent because they're not allowed to share. So, for example, you see, there's different cultural boundaries. Some Christian sections in Israel will not pray with even the other ones, but so we kind of respect those differences. Sometimes we pray together. We found that it's easier to study together because there's less boundaries when you study, And we're not trying to make like a big mush of all the religions. We're trying to respect each and every religion's different path, to learn from one another, to echo it, with one another. When it's appropriate, we pray together. Oh, actually, I'll just tell you one thing. We had this tze'adah, in Jerusalem, the march in Jerusalem. What was the title of it? Can you? Yeah.
The march was organized by Rabbis for Human Rights. It was last May, and it was to commemorate the famous march in Selma, marched by Martin Luther King and Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel and other religious leaders. And all
of us were there. Spirit of the Galilee was a formal. We do a lot of collaboration with other organizations, and we marched from downtown Jerusalem to the gates of the old city, and we had and then we prayed, not together in the sense that everybody shared a prayer, and this is just one example of the kind of things that we do.
חשוב להגיד שאנחנו לא אומרים אותם מילים, לא אותה תפילה בעצם, אנחנו ביחד, אבל כל אחד אומר את התפילה מהדת שלו.
It's important for me to add that when we pray together physically, but we don't say the same words. Each uses the word of their own religion.
כי יש דברים, יש תפילות שאני גם לא יכולה להגיד אמן, כי זה משהו, מבחינתי כמוסלמית זה מנוגד לאסלאם.
Some prayers I cannot even say amen at the end of it because as a Muslim it doesn't really go with my beliefs.
אבל אנחנו לא כל כך נכנסים לזה, כאילו אנחנו באים לתפילה, אם קרה משהו, נגיד כמו התעדה הזו, או לפני, תתרגמי כרגע.
We don't really go into the details of it. When we have an opportunity to be together in prayer,
אפרופו אורתודוקסים, לפני השביעי באוקטובר, היה לצערי טבח, אמרתי לכם על האלימות בחברה הערבית, באחד הכפרים בגליל, וקראנו לזה בבסמת טבעון, ובהתחלה כתבתי, כאילו הייתה יוזמה שלי להזמין אנשים לתפילה משותפת, ואז חברים האורתודוקסים אמרו לי, אנחנו לא יכולים להתפלל תפילה משותפת.
Just as an example, before October 7th, there was a murder in the area that we live, and I initiated a joint prayer of different religions. And my Orthodox friend said, we cannot come for this because we don't pray together.
אז אמרנו תפילות, אז הרב אור קרא תפילה, אבו נסבא תפילה, רבה ליאור התפילה.
So we shared different prayers, and members of our groups read or led a certain prayer.
והיו 200 נשים וגברים, והרגשנו את האנרגיה
של
התפילות השונות.
Being together in prayer. And I'll just say that the prayer that we did at the end of the march, which was at the entrance to Jerusalem, just outside of Jaffa Gate, for all of you who have been, was absolutely a moment of being in Olam Haba, like in the next world. That's how it felt like. Radir and I led that, and we had so many different leaders. There were hundreds of people that participated, and also hundreds of people that just walked by as we were there. And the birds were flying above us, and the summer wind was sort of, and it was really just a moment of, this is how the world should look like. We were literally sitting, standing, singing at the gates of Jerusalem, praying in Hebrew and Arabic and English. And halavai, I wish, inshallah, that this will be really the present of our lives everywhere, and not only a vision to the future. So where do you take hope from, especially at moments of such darkness?
I take this from my faith, from my belief. I take this from my belief that, as I said from the beginning, that the human is good in his nature, and the bad people and the bad things that in the human are in the minority of the people. So the majority of the people are good. The minority, I think, they are not good, and we have to deal with them. We have criminal, so we have to deal with them. There is a law that we have to punish them, and we have to try to make them better people. The purpose or the target of the punishment of the law is not only to punish. It's in addition to make these people better, to improve their behavior. Also, what I see, something that gives me hope, that I see, for example, in Europe, before about 80 years, 70 years, the situation there was very bad. The war in Europe between France and Germany, between Italy and the other countries, was very difficult and was very hard. And Russia also, 20 million of the Russian people were killed in the war. German were killed, the French were killed, a lot of Europeans were killed, and we can see now in Europe that there is no border between Germany and between France. And the people there, we cannot imagine that someone from this side will make something bad to the other side because he is French or because he is German. This hateness, which was exist in that time, we can see that it's gone. So this also gives me hope, and I hope that that we will reach to this level of peace and to this level of communication between the Arab and the Jewish people in our country.
What gives me hope is my colleagues in this group. When I feel like I lose hope, when I have a down moment, a dark moment, and there are those moments, in these times, I look at people like Abuna Saba, like Ghadir, and I'm inspired by their work and their commitment, their love to our country, their commitment to human values and to peace, and I know that they lift me up.
לי, מה שנותן לי תקווה זה אתם וזה אנחנו וכל השותפות והשותפים שלי לעשייה.
What gives me hope is you, it's us, it's all our partners for the work that we do.
התמיכה שאני מקבלת מהמשפחה ומהחברות והחברים.
The support that I receive from my family, from my friends.
אבל לפני זה, האמונה שאלוהים הולך לבחור לנו את הטוב ביותר, למרות המצב. הרבה פעמים אני אומרת זה החושך לפני עליית השחר, ואז נהיה יותר חשוך ויותר חשור, אבל אני מאמינה שמתישהו כן יהיה טוב בארץ הקודש.
I believe that God have good plans for us, and it's a deep belief that God will provide goodness for us. And very often, at my darkest moments, I feel like this is darkness before the light will go up. And I believe in my whole being that one day there will be peace in the Holy Land. Our last question, what do you think we can do from here in order to help?
You want to start?
I think all the people and all the world can help, and especially you are as American and the United States have a main role in the Middle East. I think also the European and the Arab country have to take, everyone have to take part to push for peace and to help the both parties, the two people, the two countries, to bring us to peace and to help the government and to achieve the peace.
In addition, somehow happened that in this past months, I was in Israel a lot when the war began, and then because of plans, I ended up something that I planned long before. I ended up working for a month as a rabbi in London, and then I came to America, and I was seeing that this thing that's happening in the Middle East is somehow getting people very, very active and emotional and involved in a way that was almost incomprehensible. In some ways, it's yes, we know there's Muslims and Jews all over, but people who don't even know where Israel is has a very strong opinion, or where Palestine is, and it's very, very polarizing, and a lot of hate and a lot of something I would say is unconstructive discourse. And I really want to, something that I said to people in London when I was there, where there's this huge demonstration of 300,000 pro-Palestinians, that some of it actually was violent, not most of it was peaceful, by the way. And I was told the Jews, everyone has a right to protest, but it was a very hard moment. And I said to them, who told you that this is your war? Why do we have a tendency to kind of to get ourselves sucked into this? I think that what we all need to do is de-escalate. We need to de-escalate, not pour more fire on the more oil in the fire. It's really time to all be leaders in this. And in this, it doesn't matter where you are. Look, we're in the eye of the storm. We're in Israel. The whole world is looking at it and say, and we are friends and we are partners. Okay, so I really want to ask you, it's a little bit similar to what you said, Ghadir, before. If you have a Muslim neighbor, if you have, if you talk to, do this, be responsible, right? Believe in a better tomorrow, and be part of the healing forces. We need all of us to do this together. So this is my other than the obvious of the support the spirit of the Galilee and similar organization. That's the easy way. It's the deep commitment. The deep commitment that we all need to have is for de-escalation, for remembering that in the end, in Israel, Palestine, tomorrow we'll all be neighbors, and this is the kind of energy that we're trying to create over there where it's difficult, and I'm asking you to partner with us in this kind of a responsible and compassionate way.
So as another Israeli in the room, I'll take the chutzpah to also answer this question. And I want to say that what we can do from here is exactly what we're doing tonight. And I want to say a few thank yous before we close. And I want to first of all thank our community, our congregation, for hosting this incredible group. And our fearless leader, Rabbi Paul, that said, let's go for it. I believe that in the 3 nights that these wonderful people have been sharing their stories in 3 different places, in an Episcopal church in Camarillo on Monday night, where there were about 100 people who represented leadership of different communities as part of the Ventura County interface group that we're also part of. And then last night in the Catholic beautiful Church of St. Mel, thanks to Michelle Walters, who is sitting there next to Gary, who coordinated that visit. And tonight, I believe that we have exposed these incredible human beings and the spirit of the Galilee to at least 500 people in person, and probably another number that is similar, if not more, online. And it has to have a ripple effect. So don't keep it to yourself. Next time that you're going to engage in conversation about Israel and Palestine and the war and everything in between, make sure that you're going to tell whoever you're talking to that you met and you heard and you saw another message, which is a completely different message of peace, of healing, of possibilities, of hope, because it is possible. And it's up for us to hold on to this hope and to move it from one person to the other in order to create the ripple effect and eventually just to believe together that it's not going to be today and it's not going to be tomorrow, but it will happen. As our sacred text teaches us in the Talmud, you may not end the work that you need to do in this world, but you do not have the freedom to stop and not to continue doing it. And every single one of us has a piece in that. I also want to say thank you to Pastor Kathy, who is here with us, and to Michelle Walters, to our friends from Unexpectable LA, to David Brooks, who hosted Rabbi Or and Abuna Saba, and to our Israel Emergency Fund, who made it possible for us to bring guests all the way from Israel, and to every single one of you for coming here tonight. And by coming, you're really becoming an ambassador of this message to the entire world. And because I know that listening about all these wonderful places in Israel open up your appetite to go and visit and to see and to stand with your feet and to be a witness. So I'm very, very happy and excited to share that we are planning a trip to Israel this coming June. It will be a trip of 2 parts. There will be a solidarity mission in order to bear witness and to really say, here we are one people, one heart, and to share our respects and volunteer and to do everything as possible on the ground to help the efforts. Hopefully their war will be over and there will not going to be any hostages, but we will help with everything else that will be needed. It will be a 3.5-day solidarity mission, followed by a 4-day trip for first-timers that have never been to Israel and want to see some of the beautiful highlights. It is happening towards the end of June, and we have an informational meeting on March 20th here in the evening and also on Zoom. So you don't have to be sure, you don't have to decide now that you're going, but if it triggers you, if you're interested, if you want to know more, if you want to gain information, please come and meet Rabbi Paul and me, and we'll tell you all there is to know about it. I also want to say that next Wednesday we have another opportunity to learn with another friend and colleague of mine, from a rabbi from Israel. It's a village event, but they very beautifully opened it for everybody in the community. So if you want to have more conversation about Israel, next Wednesday at 7:30. And if you want to go to Poland, then come an hour earlier, and we'll tell you about that trip as well. And of course, Cantor Kyle's installation this Friday, and all the wonderful events that are coming. So thank you all very much. We want to close the circle. We started by dedicating this evening to a dear, dear, dear friend. And I asked Ghadir to share literally 2 paragraphs from the eulogy that she wrote for Vivian's funeral. It was in the middle of November. And then Rabbi Or will finish with a song.
טוב, אז אומנם זה הספד, אבל יש בו אמירה פוליטית עם אולי קצת תקווה שאני אביא לכם.
Although it's a eulogy, but it's also a political statement mixed with a message of hope.
לפני שכתבתי את ההספד, פניתי לחבר שלי פעיל שלום, שגם הוא איבד את שני הוריו בקיבוץ בארי, והתרגשתי מאוד מההספד שלו.
Before I wrote this eulogy, I turned to a friend of mine who lost both of his parents on that black Sabbath of October 7th, and I felt very emotional from the eulogy that he wrote for them.
ולמדתי ממנו כמה חשוב להתחיל באישי ולסיים עם אמירה פוליטית.
And I learned from him how important it is to start with the personal and end with a political message.
ויויאן יקרתי, אם הייתי יכולה לשמוע, היית רוצה שתדעי שחמאס לא רצח את החזון שלך. אי אפשר להרוג את החמלה, האנושיות, הסולידריות, השאיפה לחיים בטוחים. עלינו להמשיך את דרכך, הדרך שבה כולם יוכלו לחיות חיים טובים ובטוחים במולדת הזאת. להבטיח שה7 באוקטובר לא יחזור על עצמו. כל פועלך היה למען השלום, וכשנגשים את חלומך, די לך שהכנת לנו את הקרקע, אנחנו נמשיך את דרכך. נעשה הכל בשביל לעלות על סדר היום את הפתרון המדיני. נוכיח שחיינו לא נגזרו על החרב. נפרק את הקונספציה שאין פתרון. התשובה הכי טובה להירצחך היא לפעול למען השלום. נוחי בשלום, אישה גדולה שאת, אחותי, חברתי היקרה. אנחנו נמשיך את דרכך, את צבאתך. חברה תהיה חסרה.
My dear Vivian, if you could hear me, I would want you to know that Hamas has not murdered your vision. You cannot kill compassion, humanity, solidarity, and yearning for a safe life. We must continue your journey, the journey toward a good and safe life in our homeland, to ensure that October 7th disaster does not repeat itself. Everything you did for peace. When we realize your dream, know that you set the ground for us. We will carry your legacy, do everything to place a political solution on an agenda. We will prove that the course of our lives has not been decided by the sword. We will dismantle the notion that there is no solution. The best answer to your murder is to work for peace. Rest in peace, great woman that you are, my sister, my close friend. We will carry your legacy, your will.
יהיו לרצון עם רעפי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי יהיו לרצון עם הרפי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי עושה שלום במרומה הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל תבל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומה הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל תבל ואמרו אמן יהיו לרצון עם רעפי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי וגואלי עושה שלום במרומה הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל תבל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומה הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל תבל ואמרו אמן.
Thank you very much, Rabbi Or Zohar, Abuna Saba Haj, Ghadir Hani. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Laila Tov.